What is going on, everybody? So today we are going to be doing rear brakes on our 2009 Toyota Sienna, and this just kind of shows you what we're going to need. So over here we're going to need brake pads, 2 rotors, some brake clean, brake fluid, a ratchet, a 17 and a 14 millimeter, brake caliper depressor, a pry bar, and a hammer to get the rotor off. So now we are going to start with, so here's your setup here, your disc brake rotor, your caliper. So we're going to take the caliper and the bracket off, and once I get that done, I'll be right back. All right, so once you get the top bolt out here and the bottom one out here, you can just go ahead and pull off the caliper and also have the bracket with it. So now you can separate the bracket from the caliper, and then the brake pads there you'll replace by sliding them out, and then you'll depress that caliper there, and then you'll put it all back. One tip, it does come with hardware, but the OEM hardware is always better. Sometimes you do have problems with this aftermarket hardware. So what I do is you take the pads off and you put some grease right in here where they slide, and then take these pins out and put some grease there as well. Another thing you do want to note is you want to make sure you put this squeaker here. That's what's going to tell you when the pads get low, the same side that it came off of. Okay, now when you put this grease on, it doesn't require a lot. Just put a little bit there on all 4 points, and then put your pads back on. All right, pads are back on. So now, but you're wondering what we're gonna use the hammer for. So a lot of times, these rotors are stuck on if they've been on a while. This one's probably is not. This one will probably come off pretty easy. Maybe not. Let's go ahead. Make sure you want to stay clear of the studs. If you break those, you'll have to replace them. Pop it off like that. Just pull your rotor off. Set it aside. Now you got to remember on these Toyotas, there is a plug right here. That's an inspection plug for your parking brake. You'll need to take that out and put it on the new one. Got my inspection plug in the new rotor. Now to note, these come with some oil on them to keep them from rusting. This is what you need the brake parts cleaner for. You want to spray around this side and the back side. Get all that off of there so they don't smoke when you go drive. So now to depress the brake caliper. This is a Lyle brake caliper depressor. It's probably one of the easiest tools you'll find. Stick it in there and you just pump it and you push the caliper in until it stops. Now take a note, if it's really far out and the fluid's somewhat full, you're gonna wanna take the cap off the brake fluid reservoir so it doesn't bust that seal, because when you push this caliper in, it's gonna rush fluid back to the front into the reservoir. Okay, so if you don't pull that cap off, which this wasn't very far out, so I didn't worry about taking the cap off, it could push fluid past that seal and break that seal. So you'll wanna take the cap off of the brake reservoir and dust off and clean off the cap before you take it off. All right, so new rotor on, bottom bolt's tight, top bolt's tight, top caliper bolt is tight, and the bottom one's tight. So that's it. Brakes are pretty straightforward, but there are some different varying types out there. So you always want to find out the best procedure when you're performing these types of jobs, and don't rush through it. You want to make sure, this is your stopping power with your vehicle. So you want to make sure it's all right when you're doing it. So good luck with what you're doing. Also, when you're done, check your brake fluid level, add brake fluid. And I do want to give a shout out to Detroit Axle. This is the brand brakes that I'm using. Very good price on eBay for pads and rotors, and it also came with brake fluid and brake cleaner. And there are also a lot of brake pads out there that don't come with hardware anymore. So this did come with it. I chose to just reuse mine. They were in good shape. They weren't bent up or anything like that. Pads came right off, which means they've been lubed before. Last time I did the brakes. So if everything's been done right, it should work. So check out Detroit Axle on eBay and check out their parts, and good luck, and I'll see you guys on the next video.